Hello everybody, welcome to episode 76 of How to Play Like a WOT Pro. Today I'm going to go over a replay in the EBR 105 on Ruinberg from the south spawn, trying to show how you can actually effectively play light tanks on this side of the map. You can do this from both sides, but from the south side especially, it's actually a very good map for light tanks in general. It doesn't always work, but most of the time it actually does. And I'll show you how to play on this map and how to get away with getting a decent amount of spotting, but especially to get a good amount of damage. So some information before I get into this replay. I played this replay on the common test server number 2. For the update where they're introducing the new crew skills and stuff. I'm not going to talk much about what I think about that update or all the crew skills and whatnot in this video. I'm thinking about making a video about that topic, but I don't know whether I'll upload it in time for it to be relevant, so I don't know. But all you really need to know for this replay about the crew skill changes is that the EBR 105, or really, I'll just talk about the skills in general. Snapshot, the skill which gives you 7.5% better dispersion while turning your turret, got buffed so that it's 2 times as effective. So now instead of 7.5%, it's 15% better dispersion. So the EBR's gun will be better at snapping things. And then the other crew skill, which I think is pretty relevant to the EBR, is that after you get enough assisting damage so that it equals or is above your hit points, so if I get 1300 or more spotting damage, my crew gets a 2.5% bonus. It's like half of a regular vents. I don't know whether I get that right away in this replay or not, or if I even get it at all, but at least for the EBR that's important. So as you can see, I'm using the radio set. That's because there's a new, I think there's a new crew skill which increases the amount of time that an enemy tank can be spotted for. And I just wanted to try it out along with what's that called? I don't remember what it's called, but please say so in the comments what it's called. But there's a crew skill where you can point your gun at an enemy within 10 degrees, either, I don't know if it's 5 to the left or right, or if it's 10 to the left or right of them, and they'll stay lit for 2 extra seconds. I really want to know how that crew skill exactly works, and like when you have to be pointing at them, if it's right before they get delit, or if you can just point at them anytime. But basically I'm using that crew skill along with the radio set, which increases the amount of time enemies are lit for, to try to keep enemies lit for up to 15 seconds or something, which is ridiculous. After testing with it, I don't think it's really worth using, but it is kind of funny, and there might be some limited use in competitive. I'm not really sure. But either way, let's get into the replay. I've talked enough. So we're on Ruinberg South Spawn, and in light tanks on Ruinberg, what I like to do is play this area right here, if you look on the minimap, and just play these bushes. Now, this works best in light tanks that have camo. The EBR is like perfect for it, but you can also do this in like a Manticore or any other light tank, but it's a little bit harder to do it in a tank with poor camo like the Sheridan or the RHM Panzer, especially if you don't have low noise. Because you can get outspotted by enemy light tanks, or it's just hard to cross this road and get into these bushes if you don't have good camo. And also your speed matters. The EBR is so fast that if you get lit, you can just run away very quickly. But what I like to do on this map is in a light tank, I first like to make a little mid run. I'll just make a run kind of like this, spotting what's coming up the mid and spotting anything in the back lines. Occasionally you'll spot an artillery doing this. This isn't an encounter battle, so the spawns are actually, I'm pretty sure, are basically the same, but as you can see, a Leo is coming up the mid. And when you do this run, you have to watch for the enemy light tanks, because if you think about it, there's basically nowhere for the enemy light tanks to go on this map except for like this row of bushes. They can kind of play in the city, but at the beginning of the battle, there's a very high likelihood they're going to be here. So you don't want to get bled by them, but you do want to bleed them. But it's not an easy shot, especially in an EBR. So that's what I was doing here. I'm just getting an initial spot and then trying to shoot their EBR. Now, when you play in this area right here, the worst thing that can happen is an enemy yellows the mid and then just keeps poking this corner here and bleeding you. So if you see an enemy yellow the mid, the best thing that you can do is get safe in this area right here. There's a little hull down, as you can see, a little rubble pile. And so if they try to poke you like that, you can just shoot them back. And the other thing is, they cannot stay safe on this corner from over here. Look on the minimap. If you have any tanks right here or right here, they cannot play on this corner. They're going to be forced to move over into this pocket here, and then they won't be able to disturb you as much. But you always have to be watching out for this line of sight right here if you're going to play in these bushes. So right now I see the Leo. He's going there. I'm going to make sure I don't get bled by him, but he's getting pressured by our 430U, so I'm not too worried about him right now. I try to bleed their EBR, but I miss completely. I am playing on 120 ping because it's a common test, but that was just a poor shot. And the best thing that can happen right now is I am able to counter their light tanks, because then once I kill their light tanks, that will give me free reign on these bushes here and these bushes here. And I won't have to worry about getting yellowed by a light tank and then possibly bleeding either from the light tanks or from people in the back lines. So the priority when you're playing on Ruinberg is to focus down their light tanks usually. I get a nice shot onto the V4. I don't even get lit for it, which is kind of surprising. I don't even have low noise on this setup. But I noticed this V4 is actually tracked. And he's actually perma-tracked, not just tracked. I don't know if this song is something that will get me my video banned on YouTube. We'll see. But so I retrack him there. I make sure to aim for his track. And this is very important here. If you look at the enemy team, I didn't really talk about their composition. They have almost no heavies. They have four V4s, and they're in 2 platoons. So honestly, when I got into this battle, I was expecting to just get absolutely rolled. I thought their V4s would just push the 0 line or something and kill us all. But we get really lucky by perma-tracking this guy, and so it kind of stops their push, and they're not able to progress the game. Now, since our 430U is here, he's keeping this Leo backed off, so I don't have to worry about him. And I see this EBR coming. I want to counter him. I hit a good shot there. That's just a replay. I know it looked like my reticle wasn't on him, but it's just a replay bug. I'm lit, so I'm trying to stay low. Now, if you look at their team, it's always important, especially mid-game, to look at what is not lit and look at the map. So we did get YOLO'd by the V4s in the city, which, you know, is not too surprising. V4s are broken for just YOLOing people, especially in platoons. But we still have a lot of teammates over here, so all is not technically lost. And if you look at what's unlit, there's only a Leo unlit. That's it, besides the RD, obviously. But I see that this 4K5 is over pushing. From this position, you can get shots on enemies who overpeak here, although that's not very common, but it can happen sometimes. Especially if your team doesn't have someone playing on this hole down here, preventing them from poking. But pretty soon in this battle, we're going to get to the reason why this is actually a great map for light tanks. I mean, great might be a bit too much of a word, but it's good. It is a good light tank map if you know how to play it properly. And this is the reason why. After you kill their light tanks, which we've killed their EBR and their 13105 is fapping in the back, you can play this bush line, and this bush line is very powerful. The reason why is anyone in the city playing on this corner right here or this corner right here, they can shoot into the field and shoot anybody who's playing here. And so you can just drive up into these bushes. I would probably go right here, not over here where you can get proxied. And then if you have commander's vision system, or if you just happen to be close enough to them, you'll spot them here, and then your guys in city will be able to shoot them. And sometimes you're even able to shoot them yourself, as you'll be seeing throughout this replay. Now right now there's not too many people in city who can actually snipe for me. And I'm not quite ready to push up because this Leo is not dead yet. He's kind of a problem. I'm hoping he'll die soon, but for now I have to just play passive because he's still alive. If I were to cross right now, I would get lit by the Leo potentially, which would get me shot, so I just don't want to do that. Instead, one of my teammates spots these tanks over here, and I get a free shot. I see this guy's a one-shot. I really want him to die. Our 430U should have him, and he gets him. So now it's possible for me to play those bushes. But I see that this V4 is pushing up, and so I'm just going to sit here and try to see if I can get a shot. I'm being patient with my shot because this isn't a very good penning shot. Even if I hit his cupola, it's probably a 50-50 if I pen it, even if I hit it straight on. And unfortunately, I miss and bounce. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So I'm just getting delit here, and now I go on the bushes. I push up here, but then I realized too late that I'm actually lit. But I realized it quick enough that it's not really a big problem, because I could escape. If you look at what's unlit, there's only a leopard unlit, and he just hit me and hit my wheel. So even if I do get lit here crossing, there's very little chance that I'm just gonna explode and die instantly. I might just take a hit. That's about it. And if people are playing in this line here, and you're not able to cross because of that, sometimes if they back up, for example, or if they're closer, like in this street here, you can just get a shot into them through these bushes, and then once you get lit, then run away, if you get lit at all. But this game is becoming very close. The game is basically, there's only like 6 enemies left, so you might be thinking that this replay is not going to be very interesting, but you'll see. It gets pretty good later on. Right now I'm using this downed tree here for camo. It looks like I'm sticking out here, but the thing is, on your vehicle, there's like 6 spotting points, and the bush only has to cover those spotting points. So there's one on your front, one on your side hull on both sides, and then one on your rear. And then there's one, I think, on your gun. I'm getting them mixed up with the spotting ports, not the... There's ports that you can spot from, and then there's ports that you get spotted from. I think there's actually 4 on the turret. One on the side turret, on the other side turret, on the rear turret, and on the gun, I think. But I could be wrong about that. Or maybe the cupola. But either way, I just need to cover those viewports, and I'm fine. If I didn't knock over this tree like this, I wouldn't be able to get away with this. But here's the main benefit of these bushes here, and that's spotting this location here. Another thing you can do from these bushes here is spot people in the back. There's usually not many people to actually shoot them, because if you think about it, there aren't very many locations for your teammates where they can actually get shots on the back line. But the thing is, you yourself can actually shoot them, and then just, if you're turned backwards, you can just run away. It's the same deal with this position. A lot of the time, if they don't have a lot of tanks in the back, or you're really quick like you're in an ABR, you can just play down here and shoot them and then run. And that's what I'm going to try to do here on the 57 Heavy. But I need to be careful because this V4 is still in the side street, or the middle road, I guess. So I can't really cross easily. But what I'm trying to do here is go low so that he can't spot me. I don't know whether it's going to work. I just got a follow, by the way. I don't know what's up with that. I'm not even streaming, but thank you. Wait a second. Pauly One Eye has tipped $100. At least for a new good mouse should be enough, but think about fixing your FPS too. Keep going. Good luck. Have fun. Well, Pauly, I got my mouse to work, and I got a new computer for $150. So I'm probably going to see if I can refund that after this video. If I remember, I'll take a screenshot of it so I remember. But thank you. I really appreciate it. $100 fucking dollars, bro. Okay, let's get back to the video. I keep getting distracted, but so finally I'm able to come into this bush. If I would have gotten spotted by this V4, if he like saw my cupola or something, I would have just done a loop and ran away. It would have been completely fine. I might have taken one from the Leo, probably not. Remember from the start of the battle, I do have Commander's Vision system on this tank. I'm not firing right now because their Leo is still in the back lines. I'm just trying to spot for my team. But here's what you can do from these bushes. This is what makes them so powerful. You can back up, double bush. From this range, I do get spotted. I don't know if that was from the Foch. I don't know exactly who that was from. Could have just been from him because he was pretty close. But a lot of the time you won't even get spotted for this. But even if you do get spotted, if you're backwards, you can run into cover very quickly if they don't have too many people covering the middle road from the back lines. I see this guy got tracked, so I go for a blind shot. I aim a little bit low. The reason why you aim low when you're blind shooting someone at range is because if you aim at their actual like mid height, then you're actually not aiming at them because you don't see their tank. What you're really doing is aiming behind them. You're aiming, it's really hard to show. Let's just say I'm shooting at this building here, blind. There's a tank right here and it's blind. If I shoot right there, my shell is going to do an arc like this. Like watch my mouse. So even though the tank is in front of the building, my shell is going to fly over the tank and then drop down and then hit where I was aiming on the building. Hopefully you guys understand what I mean by that. And for that reason, when you're at a long distance and you're blind shotting someone, especially with a low velocity shell, you want to aim slightly lower than they actually are. You might have noticed this when playing something like a KV2 with a derp gun. If you aim exactly where they are, your shell will go way over the target. It's just something you have to get a feel for, but I get a nice shot into that guy. He did spot me, but it's not a big deal. I can just get safe after. And now this game is getting very close. There's only 4 tanks left. If you look at the HPs, I always have HP on the sidebars, and I have it on alt on the minimap, so I can see where tanks who have health are and whatnot. Our V4 is a one-shot, and their 13105 is going for him. Now, in this situation, I actually could have helped our 13105, our V4, and we probably would have just won the game, because then they would be trapped in the corner. We have a light tank, and they don't. The reason why I didn't is because I'm extremely greedy, and I actually wanted this game to be very close, because it sounded like fun to carry. I mean, it's a test server. I don't care that much about winning. But I wanted it to be a fun battle, so I don't go for the 13105. Instead, I just stay middle, and I'm trying to outplay these guys here mid. I am a light tank. I have great camo. Their 57 heavy is reloading. I can get a free shot here. I don't even get lit for it. You noticed how the 121, I think it was him, lit me earlier when I shot at him. The T57 didn't, so I don't know what that means. Maybe the 121 has either CVS or optics or something. Not sure. Here I load a APCR to try to get a shot on this guy, but I don't load it in time. But their Leo is over poking. As you'll see in a second, their Leo is kind of just not paying attention to me. I'm still going for shots in the back, but now I am aware that their 13105 could be behind me. He has good enough camo that I'm not going to spot him from this distance. So if I do shoot and he's in the open, he's going to spot me. So I need to get in speed mode and run. And I did get lit. That tells me that the 13105 is in the middle street. Now I'm trying to help my team here, but at the same time, this 13105 is a 2-shot for me, so he is a threat. I don't want him to be able to creep up on me. I want to be able to spot him early so that I can get in an early shot if he tries to YOLO me. Because if I don't get in an early shot, then I'm going to shoot him once and he's going to get out all 3 shells on me, and that'll be a 1-shot, and if he's very lucky, he'll high roll me. Now, we saw he just triggered the cap, so I'm not too worried about him right now. That was a terrible shot. If you look at the mini-map, my view range is like just on the edge of the cap. So I just move a little bit over here so that he for sure won't light me, the 13105 that is. I really want to kill this Leo because focusing one-shots in these endgame situations is very important, but unfortunately my shell misses. Now it's just me and a Foch B versus 4 enemy tanks. Most of them are they're all under half health, so this is still very winnable. They only have 2600 HP. But it's especially endgame when this row of bushes is just extremely strong. Mid and end game. In the early game, unless they don't have any light tanks, like if they suicide instantly, then it's not that good. But mid game and end game, it's very good. Now here, I have all the time in the world to aim at this guy. He doesn't know I'm here. I'm in the bush. Okay, I'm actually kind of throwing a little bit. I don't think I get lit until I fire, but that's why I load HE, because I have time. Now this guy, he just hits me with HE. First of all, he has HE loaded. Second of all, that was a pretty good shot, or a lucky shot. I don't know, because he shot me like immediately after I fired. But either way, now that I know this guy has HE, I'm kind of scared because I have 858 health. If he shoots me with HE and pens me with both shots, he will kill me. So I need to get some distance against this guy and try to get a free shot in before he gets in close to me. Now here I see the 57 heavy is poking through right here, and I'm lit. I just got lit, so I need to evade him as I run. So I'm trying to keep this building between me and him, and thankfully they don't hit me. And I just tuck in here, but I know that this 13105, now that there's only two of us, there's a very good chance he's going to be YOLOing me right now. So what I want to do is pull out over here, because I think he's YOLOing like this or something, and I need to get an early shot in. If I let him get close without shooting him, it's game over for me, potentially. So I get a shot in. He pens the next HE shell. Now I'm a one shot for HE. And here I make a good play. He could have technically hit me here, but it's a very small shot. I went a little bit too close, but since I'm in an EBR, I can actually kind of outplay him. And now this is a very important situation. Instead of going around and just kiting him, I know that eventually if I keep doing that, I'm going to get shot through here by the 57 heavy, and we could do this for ages. Like, I need to put an end to it, or else the other tanks are just going to kill my Foch B or something, and the game will be over. So I have to take the challenge against him. Now, I could just turn sideways like this, like keep driving, like say I'm coming around this corner, and then I'm turning around here, and then I'm side onto him, and I just pre-aim the corner, and wait for him to come around, because I see he's going to YOLO in, at least I'm pretty sure of it. But instead, watch what I do with my movement. I'm just going to go in third person. So, I was going around the corner like this, right? But instead of turning sideways, I actually straighten my tank out like that. The reason why I do that is it gives him a worse shot on me as he comes around the corner, and it makes it so that the distance between my gun and the shot the part of my tank he can shoot, it's a smaller distance. If I were sideways, it would be more like this. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like this. So that's why I did that, and that's a trick that you can use when somebody's chasing you down. It doesn't have to just be a light tank, it can be medium tanks or something as well. It's just a good strategy to know. So I kill him. I'm waiting to get unlit. I do have a crew skill which makes it so that I get unlit 1 second faster. It's one of the new crew skills. And now we're kind of in a tough situation. The reason why this situation is tough is because their 57 heavy could be in this frontal row of bushes right here, spotting the entire field. And those bushes are where I want to go to outplay the enemies. So instead of trying to just drive straight up at the bushes and probably just die to the 57, I decided to go down the zero line first. Now another play I potentially could have made right now is to go into the city. But I don't know why I made this decision. I think it was just intuition. I didn't want to leave the zero line. I was kind of banking on the fact that I might be able to outspot them here because I have Commander's Vision System and I'm an EBR. The other reason why I stayed here is because I think it's just the safer play. If I go city and their leopard comes city, for example, he could just peek me at an unexpected time and then I'm dead. If I just play here, there's no way for them to kill us because I will spot them so early that my Foch B and myself can just shoot them and kill them. There I get a really weird spot on the Leo. I don't really know how I spotted him, but that's very good information to have. And I'm hoping that he'll turn like this so I can get a shot onto him. I'm still aware of the fact that the 57 could be there. And so when I cross this little gap here, I just tuck into the buildings in case I got lit. But I don't get lit, which tells me he might not actually be there. Now he could just be against this building, or that this building might have been in the way. And also, I'm so close that I could almost potentially spot him with CVS if he was there. So I'm not totally sure where he is right now, but I'm tempted to go to those bushes right now because I saw the Leo run and now I'm seeing the 121 run as well. The only one who could potentially spot me right now is the 57 heavy. This is a little bit risky recrossing that gap, but since I got across it the first time, I thought it would be okay. So watch what I do here. So right now, I really want to take these bushes. I really do, because it's just such a good position. You can see down the middle lane. You can see the entire field and the back lines. You can spot people who are in this little area, as I showed before. So I really want to retake those bushes, but I don't know whether it's safe because the T-57 Heavy could be there. I'm far away enough right now that he cannot light me. You can even see that I pinged the map. Maybe that was because I wanted to know the distance. I think that was just from earlier, actually, but watch what I do here. I shoot. Now, you might be wondering, why would I blind shoot there? Well, that wasn't even really a blind shot. The purpose of me shooting there was to see if I get lit. What I did is I shot when I was in the open to him, potentially, and then I went directly into cover, giving him no time to react. And this is not a play to try to blind shot him. This is a play to try to get information. I want to know if he's there. And since I don't get lit, I find it very unlikely that he's actually in this front row of bushes. He could be in the back row of bushes in the middle, but not the front. So now I decide to make a slightly risky decision. I think it's not super risky. I'm technically not a one-shot for the 57 Heavy if he like low rolls, but I just do a little run in here. I tell my Foch B to help me, to cover me, and I come here and there's no one here, which is fantastic. Now looking at the map, looking at the cap timer, there's 2 people on cap. You could see that. I noticed that. Now there's only 1. But that's very good information for us. Since they're so low HP, there's a good chance that I can outplay them, but we only have 3.5 minutes left on this game. So there is some pressure on me, but this is still plenty of time to work with. But I don't want to just YOLO into the cap. I want to... So there I did it again. I shot to see if any tank was in the back lines, and I don't get lit. That tells me there's almost certainly no one back there, unless they're just hiding in some random spot. This is something you can use in medium tanks, in light tanks. You can use it in heavy tanks when you're like poking behind, or like say there's a rock here and there's a bush here. You can poke into the bush, fire, and then back up, see if you get lit. It's just a good tactic to figure out where opponents are when you aren't sure. So since I didn't get lit, I decided to flank from the north. My goal right now is to use distance. Unfortunately, I don't have low noise in this game, which if I did have low noise this game might have actually ended somewhat differently. But I still have great camo, so I could potentially outlight them here. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to keep distance and spot them and then shoot them and then get into cover here or something. But I'm not able to, and unfortunately they light me, which is actually a little bit surprising to me. But if I had low noise, there's no way in hell that they would have lit me from that range unless they have binos. 280 meters is not easy to light an EBR from if he has low noise. So there's a lot of pressure on the cap right now. There's 26. I pretend like I'm going this way, but then at the last second I decide to come this way instead. I have HE loaded, but then I decide against it because even if I get an HE shot off, if it doesn't kill one of them, I'm going to be forced to get another reset within like another 20 seconds, which I can't do. I need more time than that. So instead I go for heat, and my plan is to kill the leopard. That way it will give me way more time to deal with the cap. I could flank all the way around or something like that. I don't want to be forced to repoke one of these same angles like here or over on this corner. I just don't want to do that. So I poke slowly but quickly. Take him out. He wasn't expecting me to peek from that angle. And our Foch B is YOLOing in, which is great. So I pretend like I'm like chilling here. You can see me do some circles. My plan right now is to come to this corner because this 1-2-1 to this corner here because this 1-2-1 he has not moved an inch. He's committed to the cap. So the reason why I don't drive to the corner right away while I'm still lit should be fairly obvious to everybody who's watching. I don't want him to know I'm coming this way. I want to be unlit and then go here. Now he still has some brain cells, so he knows that there's a good chance I'm coming here. But thankfully our Foch B distracts him. Make sure to aim that shot at his lower plate so that it has a 100% chance of pinning. Now he knows I'm here, but he's in a crossfire. Now he just fired, so that means I have time to get another shot in. So I take him out. And now it's a 1 versus 1, and I only have a minute and a half, which is not great. So here it's kind of about mind games because I don't really have much time to go play in the field. I mean, I could potentially, but what I'm worried about is if I come over here and just go to the 5 line, first of all, he's going to see me because I'm lit. So he's going to know I'm leaving. So most likely he's probably just going to hide. Or if he's an aggressive player, which I highly doubt, he's going to YOLO into like here and it's still going to be hard to kill him. So instead I decided to play mind games with him. So I just sit still. In retrospect, I shouldn't have sit still. I should have pretended to drive over here. But honestly, when it's a one-on-one like this, these mind games, if the enemy's a decent player, are fairly obvious, and it really just comes down to a 50-50 for the most part. Because they might think that you're faking, so... And he doesn't fall for my tricks. He just YOLOs me outright, which I didn't expect at all. And so now I'm in a terrible position. I try to hide. I try to get a shot in as he comes and then hide in this little cubby, but I actually thought I was here and I'm actually here. There isn't even a cubby here. So I'm just guaranteed to die in this situation. So unfortunately I lose this game. But still I got 6,800 damage and 800 spotting. I guess I didn't get 1,300 spotting, so that crew skill never even kicked in. Still though, hopefully this game helped illustrate why Ruinberg can be a great map for light tanks, especially if the game is slow, especially if you're able to kill the enemy light tanks. And you know it also helps to not, if you just don't get fucking rolled, because if your team just gets rolled, then there's not really much you can do about that. But in pretty balanced games, it's great. What I didn't really show you this game, the one great thing about this position. Even in the initial, when you do your scouting run, tanks that come here and tanks that come here from your team can shoot this area in the field, and you can get quite a lot of spotting, like 3,000. Depends on the situation, obviously, but... Alright, so that's the game. Let me show you the post-game stats. One second. Hopefully I can find them. Oh, right. I gotta look on the comment desk. Okay, let's see. Let's do this. Does this work? Yes, I think it does. So, as you can see, 6,800 damage. Only 700 spotting. Mostly just because of the way my team played. No one was really sniping the field. But still, this position is great for damage as well. I got a mastery badge on a loss. Lost 90k credits because I fired a ton of heat and lost 60k from consumables. But it's a test server, so I don't care. Alright, I think that's basically it. I know this is another EBR replay, but I just love the EBR. What can I say? I think it's one of the tanks I'm best at, so... And I wanted to test it with the crew skills because I have like 9 crew skills on that tank, so it makes sense to use that one to test. Alright, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Like I mentioned in the middle of the video, I got a new PC from Stat Paddington. Thanks to him for that. I bought it from him and he came all the way from... He drove 7 hours to come deliver it to me. And I also fixed my mouse, so in the future, my recording should be much higher quality because of that. Alright, goodbye. See you on the next one.